And hello guys, we are on the next Avocado release meeting, and let's start with review of tasks we accomplished in the sprint number 43. So first item is that we worked on cannot sudo, which was like malfunctioning in our self-tests. I implemented a process.canSudo method,
Lukash, maybe you want to share your screen? It's not showing up.
Oh, sorry about that. Screen share. Okay, so first task was cannot sudo. There are several implementation. The correct one is now in process, and you can use it in your tests or whatever else places, and it checks whether the sudo is available on your machine or whether you are root. Next one is the remote doesn't work with class methods test references. This was addressed by Amador, and basically it's one fix because we realized that the feature of copying tests, which was related to this, is not worth keeping because there are so many things which could go wrong. And it's actually quite simple to create a script to prepare your environment to do that properly. So we documented a way to work around it, and we don't support the -- no copy anymore, and the -- no copy remote no copy is default right now. So when you run a test on the latest Avocado remotely, it basically assumes that the test has to be there on the remote machine in the locations you specified. It doesn't copy the multiplex files nor the test files, and it's nothing. But on the contrary, it works well. It allows running tests with class, methods, filters. Everything should work properly.
Even Avocado VT, right?
Even Avocado VT, like everything from the basic set, which includes any kind of test which can be discovered, which is discoverable on the other way, on the remote machine, including Avocado VT or any other kind of like external runner or whatever else. And we do support the basic multiplexation, so you can specify a multiplex file, but it has to be already on the remote machine. There is no copying happening. No copying happens inside Avocado. So be prepared for this change if you're using remote runner. But luckily, it should be way better now and easier to understand the possible failures. So yes, this concludes this card. Now we have the bug. Avocado utils process is making keyboard interrupt to be ignored. Basically, Avocado utils process supplies the command with a custom signal handler, and this signal handler omitted the default part of the handler. So Amador found the issue, and now he's running it, so it works properly. Then we have another process change, and this is the avoid FD drain hang on unfinished daemon threads. Basically, this was found by running a test inside Avocado process, and when the Avocado process, like the Avocado process, never finished. It is a real problem, and it's actually the expected behavior because the executed command spawned several daemon threads or processes. I'm sorry, daemon processes. The problem is that those daemon processes. Those daemon processes didn't close the standard output and nor standard error. And the problem was that this is the expected behavior. Like when the application still has something to say, we must never finish. But to allow executing such tasks, we added the ignore BG processes argument to the process libraries, which basically closes the standard output and standard error, forcing ignoring any further output of the spawned processes if the main process finishes. So it should be only used when you know what you're doing. The basic behavior was kept as before and is the correct one, because with this you can lose some output of your executed task or process. So you had been warned. Now we have consider sorting file loaders test discovery. Yes, Amador.
Yeah, and to the multiplexer parameter itself. Lukash, do you want to comment on this?
Satish, hello.
Well, basically there are.
I'll mute you.
Let's mute.
Right now, when people talked about multiplexer, they could have talked about the YAML parser.
Okay, sorry about that. We have considered sorting file loaders. So yes, we do sort alphabetically all. I mean, when you execute Avocado run a directory, then you will receive the test in the alphabetical order, including the subdirectories. Now, next thing is just an internal fix to the unit to the self tests. Then we have don't pretend job didn't exist before because of future errors. This is part of the Cleber's cleanup of the job API, and basically we don't remove the results when they are created. So there are some like something you shouldn't see, but there's some pre-process of the jobs before they start. Now we have the cleanup job class as it contains that code. Again, part of the big job API work by Kleber. Then we have job ID utility command to find job results. Basically, let me show another screen. Basically, it's quite common that people run a test, and later you just remember the job ID, right? And later you want to know where the location of the results there was. So Amador created a contrib script to get the results by partial SHA of the job, and you can see it reports correctly this job location, which could be useful, for example, for scripts or for the CI, but even interactively. So do check that out. Next, we have execution order support in plugins. This is again another part of the plugins refactor and the cleanup. Let me share with you a self-test of this this task, and this is the plugin order self-test, which like demonstrates nicely what this does. Basically, Kleber.
We're not seeing. We're seeing your old screen probably.
Or still,
maybe. No, maybe I'm not sure if you're already at the test. Oh, now we are. Okay.
Okay, I'm in the test, and basically what is all about? There is this plugins namespace in the ini files in the ini configuration of Avocado, where you can define the order of plugins of given type of a plugin. So, for example, this is the plugin and the plugin type result. And for this plugin type result, what this code does is it says that the order is zip archive plugin, and then anything else, so like all the other plugins in alphabetical order. So if you take a look, then you execute Avocado, and what this test does, it executes Avocado with the zip archive support enabled, and then you can see here that it checks whether given files are there or are not there. Here you can see that the zip archive is executed as first plugin, which means you shouldn't see any other plugins output in it, right? So we just check that there is no HTML output, no results XML, nor results JSON output. If you take a look at the second part, there is a different configuration for the same execution, and we define the order as HTML, JSON, XUnit, and then some non-existing plugin. And last plugin to execute is the zip archive. And now you can see that when you execute it, there is a big difference in the assert non and assert in. So now we expect all the HTML, JSON, and XUnit files to be present in the results directories. So this is what this is actually the real demand, or this was the reason to actually implement it, or one of the reasons to define what will be first and what the second, because, like, for example, the archive can store the results which are generated by the previous plugins. So is it understandable? Hopefully. Like, feel free to interrupt me anytime. And let me get back to Trello. And next one is the issue 31, using utilities and tests in Avocado VT Word tests. But this was addressed. We provided some valuable feedback, and hopefully guys will cope with that. Next one is job results archive should support turn into a plugin. Before that, it was hard-coded feature in core Avocado. Now it's a plugin. And with the configuration order, it's now possible to change the order of the plugins. Like, this was the reason why it was not a plugin, but it was a core feature to give it the order. And last but not least, the Avocado documentation versioning programs. Like, you may have noticed that when you look at the main Avocado documentation, it always shows the latest master, or it traces the latest master. This may not be the best way, because usually people use the latest released documentation. And actually, it's not accurate that it says like 42, but right now it's almost 43, right? So what we did is that Amador proposed a way to basically redirect, and as a main Avocado documentation always shows the latest released version, and you can still change the version to the latest master or any other version you want to see. So basically, you won't face the problem with like odd number seeing there. Yeah, so these items were done. We have several items also in work in progress. So let's discuss why is that and what's the status. So we have the we have the job API by Kleber. Do you want to say any updates on that? Oh, Kleber. Oh, sorry, Kleber dropped. Basically, he, as you may have heard before, there were several pull requests regarding job API. We are still not there yet, so Kleber will continue on this one. The same with the job time should be work log time. Actually, we are pretty close to make it work. It would be even possible to do it a quick and dirty way, but Kleber promised to deliver nice and shiny version, which would be like nice fitting the architecture. Then we have test tags for filtering. That's basically a similar story. Like with the work on the results plugin, he had no time to finish and polish this version. But you can check out basically this pull request there, or this issue, and still provide a feedback if you're interested in this feature. I find it quite useful. Next, we have the MOOCs Improve Variant Generation ID. This turned out to be quite trickier because we discussed the multiplexer internals, and basically I worked on this for most of this sprint, and like you shouldn't see many differences, but in the end, I have there is a proof of concept of the multiplexer redesign, so we don't have we have it defined as a proper plugin without any ugly internals. So hopefully we will see this in the next sprint, and a multiplexer will be still the same functioning, like work the same way, but it would be clearly separated, and people would be allowed to write own variant ID plugins. I'm sorry, not variant ID, but variant API plugins. Yeah, and when this is done, actually, one of the commit, latest commit, actually implements this card. Next one is the proposed Avocado packages to Fedora. This had been brought forward during this sprint because there were some demands on packaging Avocado not as an external repository, but directly into Avocado. Yes, Kleber?
We're not seeing your screen.
Are you?
Kleber, we do. I think it's your connection. It might be too slow or something like that, because I see it all the time.
Okay, I'm sorry. I see all the videos, everybody else, but I don't see his screen. Oh, it's probably a browser issue.
Okay, it'll probably appear again. Yeah, basically, yes. And like the good news is that we have a fresh package maintainer who's interesting to package Avocado and take care of it in the Fedora process. So hopefully in the near future, you won't have to add a different repository, and you would just yum install the Avocado framework directly from the distribution. Related card to this is to actually fix self-test on EL7. And then we have Unicode support in test names by Amador. This was brought last week, so it's still like in progress. The same story with the preserved test environment for post-mortem debug. So yeah, do you want to talk about any of these, Amador?
Actually, I sent a new pull request on the previous one, Unicode support, so it should include all the suggestions that were made in the version 1, and I will work on the other one later today. So yeah, they are on actually work in progress.
Cool. So you heard that. So soon you will be able to run these kind of named tests as before, because it used to work. And we will have a self-test to cover the breakage in the future. We have 3 items in the backlog. There is still the multiple machine support. The tests, the data directory should include the variant ID, which depends on the improved generation variance IDs. And last one is the some Avocado test methods and attributes are public. Yeah, which had been neglected for a while, but we do want to tackle it hopefully soon. So this concludes this sprint. Do you have any questions regarding this sprint? Hopefully not. Let's check the RC. Okay. So I think we are ready to release, and yeah, with what all which is in the master. Yes.
Lucas, I have a question regarding a tab plugin. There was an issue with the file as an input. So, do you like to have it for this sprint, or we can?
Well, that's a good question, actually. I don't know what causes that problem, because I tried to run in the tab plugin and not forward, but choose a file to store it to file, and it worked well. So I guess it depends on the input from the test, right?
And basically, it breaks as a format string being given to the write function method is not proper.
But it depends on the input, right? Because like it's not 100% that you see this error. At least not with the latest master, because I tried it and it worked flawlessly for various different inputs.
Yeah, Satish, I think you can do both things through the changes that you sent. You can write the reproducer and maybe come up with a functional test for that, because I also tried it both in the standard output and redirecting to a file, and it works. So please
Oh,
send
okay.
along a reproducer.
Oh, okay. So, did you try Avocado VT as well?
No.
No,
Okay.
actually, yes, I tried to boot test with it, if I remember correctly.
Okay, I hit that issue all the times. That's the reason I'm asking for. Because if it becomes a straightforward, like that underscore write method takes an argument A, comma argument B, wherein it has to translate to an proper write with the string literals. So that's where it hitting the issue. It's more of an a syntactical issue rather than an functional issue.
Okay, so you can see I just execute. Oh, yeah, sorry, it's not in the file. So you will see whether it fails or not. But there were actually because at least from the traceback, I can say that there were some changes to the tab plugin. It was reworked by Kleber recently, so maybe he addressed some of the issues. But yeah, we will see in a minute whether it's okay.
Yeah,
yes,
I can reproduce it.
Mm-hmm.
There it is.
Yes. Okay. So I think we can probably postpone the release till we have this fixed, right? Because I suggested to
pull request.
I'm sorry.
I've sent a pull request for that to fix it.
Okay. This one.
Right, I'll check.
Yeah, because I commented there is that even your version could actually fail. So I think it should be yes, your change is welcome. It should be there, but apart from that, it should incorporate also something like this, because even your version could fail, because if I understand correctly, the failure from the traceback is because the write args is empty and there is this percentage character in the output. At least that's what I understood from the traceback.
You're not sharing your screen, are you?
Okay. Yeah. This. But I guess, guys, what do you think? I guess we can include this, given that we fix all the issues regarding that. What do you think? Because it's 100% reproducible with the Avocado VT test, so it would be nice to fix it before we release.
Yeah, I agree, and it's a simple fix. It's not.
Yeah, I mean it's just
really
yeah. I reviewed it. It's nice. It basically changes the way we use the serve.write.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It was actually implemented the way to use it like that, but we somehow kept the original calls in it. So I would incorporate this version, and well, we can discuss it after the meeting, basically on the GitHub issue.
Because and one more ask regarding the tab plugin itself. So right now we can give any name full path of the file, right? Instead, can we default it to an folder inside that results directory, like a HTML? Can we have a tab folder and then have a tab.log that will help to standardize the output?
You mean
Yeah,
always having always
Yeah,
having
something
the
like
tab
we
on.
have the JSON output, like that it's still in the results, right?
Yeah, similar to that, can we
That
extend
new
it to
hard.
.tab or job.tab or tab.log or something like that?
Hmm. You could have a results.log, just we have results JSON, results XML. Yeah,
Yeah.
it should be pretty simple to do that.
Yeah, we can. So let me create the task, like create a card regarding that, and we can schedule it accordingly. Because I don't want, I don't think we should do this in the sprint, but we can do it in the
Yeah,
next
that
sprint
we can
release.
move it on to the next sprints and then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or actually,
And
Kleber,
it's
would
a
you
nice
please,
task for contribution.
Kleber, would you please write the task? I'll
Yeah.
proceed with the meeting, so we don't lose the time. Yes, definitely we can work on it. We do have the JSON NX unit output. Just what I used, I actually ran Avocado from JSON from Jenkins, and I used the workspace to store the results. So maybe that could work for you as well. I don't know how do you execute Avocado, but I have the workspace environment.
Yeah, exactly. I use it through Jenkins, and I have multiple components so that it has many folders. It would create many results folders, and having that uh, with the same file name or mapping with the result folder would be a difficult task.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you in one job create many tasks, then it will be hard.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yes. So basically, to sum it up, you heard what will be included. We will do our best to finish the tab fix today, and when it's done, with or without this, Kleber will take a look at. Kleber will like start releasing the new Avocado 43, and you should see packages being built tomorrow or the day after, right?
Yeah, I think we should expect to see, depending on how we merge this pull request, a few hours after that we should have a release.
Mm-hmm. So let's move to the second part of this meeting, and that's what we do want to work on the next sprint. So yeah, basically, guys, move the tasks you want to focus on the next sprint, and then we can discuss it. So basically, all bugs, right? And for me, it's the multiplexer. Okay, please let me know when you're finished, and we can start looking at them individually. Oh yeah, change name.
Okay, I'm done.
I did not touch the backlog, but I'm done as well.
There are 3 bugs in the backlog, the short-term backlog.
They were all moved
There
to
are
the
4.
sprint backlog.
They were?
Yes, I moved all of them, so
Okay.
probably just need to refresh.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so what you can expect in the next sprint, basically, we will work on those items already work in progress. And apart from that, yeah, Clever wants to look at the multiple machine support. Hopefully, you'll get a second proposal regarding that. So watch out for RFCs coming, and don't forget to give an input if you're interested in this area. Yeah, we talked about this one. Then we have bugs. No, this is already discussed. This one. The stream handler is sometimes registered in logging, causing infinite recursion. This was actually reproduced on Mac, but recently we saw several times the same issue in the Travis CI. I don't know if you ever saw such failure, but basically there is some ugly thing going on in logging, and Avocado. I only saw it in this self-test where we execute Avocado run with the X unit and the test sleep test, and very rarely we see this infinite recursion when you can see that it goes to output and log handle and call handlers and back to the output in a loop. So we need to tackle this issue. Then we have bug Avocado test creates job results directory when run in a unit test compatibility mode. Yes, basically make check or whether just run the functional self-test. Some of them create job results, even dummy job results without any content in it, which shouldn't happen. Then we have the bug that CYAML is broken on some architectures. Yeah, basically this is the Python issue, but we need to tackle it as it's painful for our users. Looking for job results should respect job results directory. This is a change in the minus in the reply or diff, if I remember correctly, arguments like improve the behavior. Then we have multiplexer implement internal filters, which you may remember was here like half a year ago or something or so, and no, actually 2 years ago. And it's about new features to multiplexer, basically allowing internal filtering, basically the one where at a given leaf filter out another leaf directly in the variant. So you may see some RFC probably followed by actual code. And then we have the per job TMP there for direct use from tests. And you may have, there were some requests regarding that, not sure from whom. But basically, quite often in tests, you have a need to set up some shared resource per the whole job execution or just between 2 or 3 tests. And it's quite problematic. Python unit test supports setup class and teardown class, but we don't want to go this way because not most of the failures, but a lot of times it happened in the CI before that previous process spoiled the next test results. And this is what we really want to avoid, and we don't want any interference between tests, which is of course impossible, but we do our best to not do that. One of the ways to do it, for example, what we do is that we run each test in a different process, which means they basically by nature they can't share the setup class and teardown class. They are different processes. It would be possible to pickle and unpickle some things, but it wouldn't be nice. On the other hand, there was a message already from Amador, who like suggested creating a pre-post plugin to create a per job directory, which would be shared for basically all tests in a job. And that could solve some of the issues, like, for example, avoid compiling the same source for each variant or for each test when it's not necessary. So yeah, any suggestions, like, feel free to comment on this email or for suggestions. Otherwise, yeah, we'll have a look again on it and try to come up with a real solution. And that's it. Yes, that's it. So any ideas regarding the planning? Okay.
I don't think so. Yeah.
I guess we're done now. So thank you for joining, and see you guys in 3 weeks.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thanks
Bye,
a lot,
guys.
Lukash. Thank you guys for participating. Bye bye.